Hey, Leroy, turn it on. Okay, Uncle Shady.
You're listening to BWWR, the Banger Worldwide Radio Network.
The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Scheduled programming to bring you a show on the edge. Broadcasting worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the John Lebang Show.
Greetings, Earthlings, and alert the media. Guess what? I'm back on the air. Much to some people's chagrin, I'm back this week, even though ain't nobody attempted to mock me. You know, I love that when you get another radio host out there. I mean, if you call this person a radio host, what was his name? Jerk Classless Ass or something? I don't remember. He decided, and it's quite flattering actually, that somebody would take the time to talk about yours truly and the show I produce. Apparently this person only had listened to a week or maybe two, I don't know exactly, but they decided in their infinite wisdom, and I looked over their stuff, it was pretty interesting. I think they're butthurt because I was making fun of Canada over the last 2 weeks. He might have got butthurt about something. So this internet radio guy, podcaster, whatever you want to call it, decides to critique my show and make fun of the voices we do here on the show because he doesn't know the bit. He doesn't know the shtick that goes along with the show because he's only listened to it once, maybe twice, but that's enough to go on. So he begins to attack me because of the couple times that I introduce my show before it actually comes on. When you're on over 30 stations, they expect you to have this thing called a program clock. That way they know when to throw in your tags. So at the beginning of the show, there's a spot there that is left open for those stations to insert their tags, their local IDs. And when you hear back, instead of blank there, when it goes to the YouTube channel, he makes fun of one of my 3 YouTube channels, mocks it because I only have 19 subscribers on the John Lebang Show archive page, the channel where we just keep a video archive of the show. This guy wants to mock because there's only 19 people there. Most of the people that listen to the show will catch it on one of the 30 plus radio stations that carries this broadcast. But hey, you know, let's mock a nobody, even though you're a nobody, dude. You're up there in Canada, think you're so great. I know you got more Twitter guys than me. You got more Facebook likes. Ooh. So we have fake people liking a internet radio show Twitter page or a Facebook page. Ooh, big deal. When you go to your numbers, Bo, and he's got number 1 this and number 1 that. I guess he's number 1 in everything. But you check out his Spreaker page, and the dude's got no listeners, 0. Nobody's listening to his stuff, although he's supposedly number 1 on Spreaker. I don't know what genre he's number 1 in. Maybe crap. Because the dude, I mean, if he's a dude, I don't want to offend him. Maybe he's one of those trans something or others. I mean, I don't know what to call him these days. But he likes talking about voices. Well, let's discuss a voice. Here, check out this magnificent work by this Schmendrick.
God bless copyright-free music, baby. So check it out. How is everyone doing? Anyway, guys, check it out. We are going to do a fantastic monologue. Yo, check it out. Are you around, my friend? Can you hear me?
I want all of you listening to hear what the Schmeckle has to say.
John Lebang, why couldn't you use dramatic, apocalyptic music, dude? Why couldn't you do that, John Lebang?
Now, wasn't that just riveting, folks? Wasn't that talent talent-filled radio. Gosh, that dude's a hell of a comedian, isn't he? Ha 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 ha! I mean, if I had to describe this person, because we don't want to offend him or her or it, whatever this Canadian internet radio jockey podcaster, the classless ass show, I don't know what it is. This person decides that the banger is something they want to attack. So they mock my intro, even though I just explained that you have to have these things instead of dead air. In case the station doesn't have a local ID, something's got to play there. But this person doesn't know that, probably because they're not on real radio anywhere. I mean, if you're strictly doing the podcasting thing, you don't have to worry about those sort of things like station IDs and local information. Also, the fact that we here do more than 1 hour, that was worth mocking too. Although when you go to the Class and Ash show, you see that they do 30 minutes, 20 minutes. That's best they can come up with. That's all they got. I mean, it's just fabulous radio too. You go to the person's website, and it's just classic, cheesy, untalented web making. Well, even the show's a little classless. Talking about bumper music that they get. Well, you know, when you have no talent, bro, or ma'am, or whatever you are, when you don't have any talent, you can't create your own bumper music. We try to do that here. You know, everything that we produce, it comes from us. Right here on the show. The music, the content, the jokes, the bit, the comedy sketches. All the voices we do, minus a couple of them, because we either have somebody sit in to do a Bill Clinton impersonation, or sometimes we pick on a real media person. You know, we don't normally call out by name the scumbags on our level here, you know? And when you're rocking anything under 100,000 listeners, you're pretty much a nobody, okay? You're pretty much a nobody. But the Class and Ash show over there, I mean, they got some great content.
It would be horrible. Oh, that was a goof call. I'm bored. I love Bernie Sanders. It's just a goof. Just a goof, guys. Don't take it very serious. I thought it was fun.
Riveting radio. I almost fell asleep about 3 minutes in. It was so riveting. So I love it when people who don't even spend any time getting to know who they're going to attack, they just outright attack you because they heard one or two files of yours, whether it be video or audio or whatever, and they think they know all about you, and they think they're going to attack you and make fun of you and mock you. But I'm used to this, ladies and gentlemen, as we've talked about before. These charlatans out in the radio world, the dozens and dozens and dozens of talentless people who have the option of doing the same thing I'm doing because the technology makes it available for every stupid jerk on the planet to host a podcast, an internet radio show. Doesn't mean you're cool, dude. You can have 7,000 likes on your Facebook page, but if nobody's thumbing up your content when you post it, nobody's commenting, that means those 7,000 people that you are so proud of having are nobodies. They're not really listening to you. They're not talking about your content. They're not sharing it. They're not doing anything. It's easy to see. Do you know how to do your analytics, bro, on Facebook? You can read all the engagements. You can see how many people liked your stuff. And when nobody likes your stuff, and then you go to the Spreaker and nobody has listened to your stuff, and then you attack somebody you don't even know directly. Maybe you're making fun of that person because you're jealous of the talent they have, and you're just lacking in it. The best thing you got is you sound like it's Pat from Saturday Night Live.
You know, this kind of voice. You know, and when you pitch shift your voice without using machines, oh, you know, just can't decide, you know. So, this is great radio. You should keep doing radio like this and just keep it up and make fun of everybody that sounds better than you.
Jeez, man. This is the garbage that you get when you're just trying to do your thing here. One nobody attacks another nobody and thinks they're so brilliant, they're so cool, they're so original by doing it. Oh, good job, buddy. Good job. Wow. Hope you felt good that day. Lebang all over you, buddy. Try to use a little talent, just a little bit. Getting free bumper music, that's real talented, bro. That's real talented. Mocking another nobody is so talented. And that vocabulary left me speechless. You know what, 20 words, 30 words at best? And I'm not sure you knew the definitions of the words you were saying anyways. But sure, if you can find a way to do a show with that small of a vocabulary, bro, you go right ahead and do it. That sounds awesome. I'm sure everybody is going to keep tuning in. Oh, wait, nobody was listening. You go to your Spreaker, there's nobody there. Oh, and even if thousands of people were listening, bro, big deal. You're still a nobody. And you're a nobody from Canada. You know what that makes you? An extra nobody. Nobody cares about Canadians but Canadians. Were you just butthurt because America has better hockey teams than yours? Is that it? You don't like that I'm funnier than you? Does it really hurt when somebody's funnier than you? Does it hurt your snowflakes? Do you melt into little tiny puddles of water and then evaporate into the air? But hey, thanks for mentioning my show. If anybody listens to your show, they might check me out to see what's going on. And I appreciate that. In fact, maybe you idolize me and you don't know it. Deep down, you might idolize the banger. And I tell you, don't idolize anybody, you know? Some people are just better at things than others. And you have to accept that when you're a lesser. And if you can't accept it, you're going to melt into these little tiny rain puddles. And you'll just evaporate when the heat is turned up. So keep up the good work, bro. Keep on bringing up my show, man. Let more people know about me. I appreciate it. Because if they hear you criticizing me and they're going to go, this guy's a talentless pool of dung, they may decide to tune in and find out that some of us have more talent than others. We've got to take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen, pay some bills. On the other side of this, we'll tackle real issues, not these nobodies that think they're somebody. Don't go anywhere now.
John will be right back right after this.
Yes, he will.
Check out the new book from Derek Shelmerdine,
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It tells the story of rock and roll from its roots right up until the mid-70s punk.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Not just the music, but also the events that shaped the music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It includes the backgrounds to recording sessions, singles, album releases, births and deaths, epic concerts, and festivals.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Shelmerdine has made a painstaking effort to document pretty much every event that would prove significant in shaping popular music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Purchase the book at www.rockandrollunraveled.com. Follow him at Twitter at R&R Unraveled and look him up on Facebook at Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
By author Derek Shelmerdine.
Available now.
Hey, man, you're listening to the John Lebang Show, man.
The place where chronic brain cell rejuvenation happens.
You feel like you're getting any smarter yet?
Yes. We do not allow robots in the store.
Oh, okay. I dork.
Engine service.
You better wait outside. We don't want any trouble.
Acknowledge.
How may I help you?
Oh, I'd like to buy a lottery ticket.
Who did you vote for?
Oh, I didn't vote.
What you mean you did not vote?
Oh, I was frozen in cryostasis.
What is this cryostasis?
Oh, it means I was frozen solid.
Like Captain America?
Oh, well, you could say that, but just not as long.
Are you a racist?
No, I'm not a racist.
I don't believe you.
Trust me, I know. Now, can I get a lottery ticket?
Who do you like better, Israel or the Palestinians?
Oh, I don't know either one. I'm kind of new to the neighborhood.
I have one more question for you.
Oh, okay. What is it?
Do you like soccer or football?
Aren't they the same thing?
No.
Oh, well, I'm not very good at sports. I preferred Star Trek.
Okay, Uncle, I am ready to work.
Oh, hi, Abu.
Oh, hello, Nerd Eye. Nice to see you.
Do you know this man?
Oh, yes, we play video games together.
Is he a racist?
Oh, no, Uncle. He is not a racist. He is a scientist.
What do you want?
Oh, just give me one of those easy picks.
That would be $2.
Oh, okay, here you go.
Here's your damn ticket. Now get out of my store.
All right, I'll see you next time.
You're listening to the John LeBang Show.
It's a hell of a good time, isn't it? There's that mainstream media doing it again, twisting everybody's hearts and minds into believing that all of a sudden now, because Trump is cracking down on illegal aliens, that we're all of a sudden, as a country, separating kids from their parents who are criminals, mind you, for bringing the kids across the border illegally into the country. All of a sudden now, it's Trump's fault. Obama administration did the same thing. The Bush administration did the same damn thing. We didn't hear about it during the Obama administration, did we? There were pictures. You can go to the Daily Caller. They've posted them again for you if you want to see them. The exact same looking pictures as the ones that are being displayed throughout the mainstream media to somehow demonize Donald Trump's administration as if they were the ones who created this mess in the first place. But yet the mainstream public gobbled it up because they didn't want to pay attention back 4 or 5 years ago. They didn't want to pay attention to that, probably because a lot of them voted for Obama, and they couldn't believe that Obama would do such a thing, although the evidence is there. All you have to do is go look. And because every administration, every Congress has shuffled aside these people coming in, found ways to absorb them into the population, to translate them, to move them here, to do whatever, to just keep themselves in office, we now have a problem that is out of control. And why? Because we won't handle the main issue. The most pressing issue in this whole thing is the border and how porous it is. And until we get that locked down, we are never going to solve the problem of too many people coming into this country, having to arrest the people that came in illegally, then having children being either separated or not separated because now Trump has bowed to the pressure. Right or wrong, you see, I'm not for putting these kids through any hardship. It's a horrible thing. But it's not Trump's fault. It's not even the Bush administration's fault. It's not the Obama administration's fault, although they may have the most blame to go around. It is the parents' fault. The people who are trekking these kids all the way, some from as far as Central and South America, trekking these poor children all the way up to the United States. And you hear the claim of refugee status. And it's the children, the children, the children. The mainstream manufactured news are using these children as propaganda tools because nothing else they've done has been able to damage Trump in any significant way. And again, we're going to still have this problem. Whether it's a month from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, if we don't tackle the main problem, and that is the porous border. We have to lock it down before we can solve the problem of what kids who get taken away from what parents who are illegal and criminally here. Just the other day on the news, a lady was convicted because she had left her child. Here is a citizen of the United States because she had left her child in a car while she went shopping. Now, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if you're telling me that that is a much more dangerous thing than trekking your kid from South America all the way to the U.S., through every back road, through every desert, mud-infested forest, badlands, waterways, whatever it is, if the person who leaves their kid in a car to go shopping can go to jail for a long time, be separated from that child for that same duration, if not longer, then why are we giving a pass to these people who the first thing they did was illegally enter the country? While they were illegally entering, until they get into some safe zone where they can find some rest, they're taking these kids through all these dangerous lands, through tunnels, through forests, through desert plains. So when I hear that it's the Trump administration who's at fault for this, when they are only reacting to the criminal activity brought on by the parents, that's all the government does is react. Something happens, they try to fix it. And if you're going to scrutinize the Trump administration for the way they're handling the separation of children from their parents, then you have to scrutinize the Obama administration and the Bush administration. But we don't want to do that because right now it's Donald Trump in office. And what'd he do? He bowed to the pressure and signed an executive order, as if we don't have enough of those. See, the only thing the Trump administration is doing differently than the Obama administration is cracking down harder and faster and not encouraging the people to come. Because I know a lot of people want to forget this, but I don't know, right around 2012 or so, maybe a little after that, we found out that the Obama administration was pretty much encouraging people from South America and Central America to trek all the way up to the United States. Don't believe it? Go Google that. And don't listen to Snopes, and don't go to the first few links. Take some time and read about 20 or 30 articles, if you can handle that. I know people's attention spans aren't that long, but give it a try. You might actually find out that what you think you know isn't entirely accurate. And if you're listening to the show, that should be a common theme that we try to get across to you. You should understand that by now if you're a regular listener. Don't listen to the first thing you hear. Check and double check and triple check. Make sure that what you triple check was right. And always assume you can be deceived. Because once you think you know it all, once you think you have all the answers, you don't have any answers. You're going to get it wrong. You're going to get it wrong every time. Because you're blinded. You're living in this bubble that you don't want to get out. And many people don't want to get out of that bubble. But if we're going to deal with this crisis of illegal immigration and detaining these people and figuring out what to do with them, and if you ask me, they are endangering their children far worse than a lady who leaves her kids sitting in a car at your local Target. And if we're going to incarcerate her for years, then we better do something at least equally as drastic to these parents. And now what are we going to do with all these children that we have? There's 2,000 plus that are currently separated that they're going to try to reunite. You know, it's only a big deal right now, folks. It wasn't a big deal in 2014. Nobody talked about it. It wasn't a big deal in 2015 or 2013. Nobody cared to talk about it. The news agencies that did post the pictures of these children in cages. See, there's an outrage there because kids are sleeping in these cage areas, but nobody thinks this through. They just get outraged, right? What do you expect the government to do? So they arrest the parents. You really don't want to stick the kids in with the parents because the parents are in these big rooms and there's a lot of men, a lot of different men in those rooms. You get gangs in those rooms, especially from these South American countries. Nobody thinks about this. You stick the kids in with their parents, and these parents are in these rooms with other parents and people who aren't parents, who are big thugs that they arrested because they're trying to process all these people. Nobody's thinking of this. So you stick them in this room, and then a bunch of thugs who are the badasses of the room decide to take the kids and do with them as they will. And if the parents intervene, they get killed. And by the time any guards get there, it's going to be too late because they're shorthanded. You can see they're shorthanded. People don't think these through. You can't stick the kids in the same cells as the adults because there are far worse adults than the parents that brought them, that endangered these children. Do you want to endanger them more? The first child that got abused by a person who wasn't the father, wasn't the mother, in a giant cell where they kept everybody, that all hell would break loose then too. Nobody thinks of that. Everybody's emotional. Everybody goes off the handle, not thinking this stuff through. You have to separate the kids to protect them. And you have to put them in some kind of protected area. It looks like a cage because that's the cheapest thing they can afford. They don't have the money to put everybody in a 4-star hotel. It may look bad, but the kids are a lot safer by themselves than they are in a room with a bunch of adults. And most of the adults that come, maybe not the parents, but most of the adults that are coming around aren't the nice guys. That group with the guys who have the tattoos all over the face, MS-13, you've heard of them, right? Those murderers and killers. Well, when you separate the kids from the adults, you also separate the kids from those people because they don't have individual cells. They don't have the accommodations to house so many people individually in their nice little, welcome to America. Welcome to America. We know you came in illegally. Listen. We're going to stick you in a 4-star hotel while you're here. You can stay as long as you want because we're not going to prosecute you because we don't care that you broke the law. The only people we care about who break the law are the actual citizens of the country. So stay in a 4-star hotel. Enjoy all the luxuries we can give you on the taxpayer's expense for as long as you want. And don't worry about it. That's the mentality some people think. They don't think this through. They just, the poor children, ooh. They're saving the children from the muggers and the killers that are in the adult cages. Because they're in big cages. They're not individually locked up. They don't have the room for that. God, gotta take a quick break. Be right back.
Don't move a muscle.
John Lebang Show, right back.
With lots of fun and excitement. Yes. CRRM, CarePoint Billing Services. Their billers and managers are all dedicated to working for you to increase your profits. For more information, call CRRM at 248-579-3805. CRRM, CarePoint Billing Services.
Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
If you want to contact the John Lebang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John Lebang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John Lebang Show. Now here's John.
And then we have the presidential candidate for Mexico, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, calling for mass immigration to the United States during a speech Tuesday declaring it's a human right for all North Americans. He continues, and soon, very soon, after the victory of our movement, we will defend all the immigrants in the American continent and all the migrants in the world. All the migrants in the world. He added, immigrants must leave their towns and find a life in the United States. He then declared it's a human right he will defend. It's a human right, ladies and gentlemen, to break into a country at your northern border. It's getting to be ridiculous. This entire border issue is out of hand. It's a human rights issue that Mexico is unwilling to deal with. They're encouraging their poorest of the poor to leave their country and head to the U.S. because they do not want to deal with their problem, their poor problem, their lack of integrity. And it's amazing that they want to send them here because our government has a lack of integrity, but it shines, it far outshines the integrity of the Mexican government, of the Ecuadorian government, of the South American governments. You're going to start to hear this. Americans are everybody from North America to South America. Mexicans are Americans. Brazilians are Americans. Want to know why? Because I recently had a talk with a person who comes from one of those Central American countries asking me, why do people from the United States call themselves Americans, but they don't consider the Central Americans and South Americans Americans? And I had to think about it for a moment, because sure, it's Central America and South America. But when you're talking about America, Americans, it's not just the people in North America who think Americans are people from the United States. It's the Europeans who think that. It's the Middle Easterners who think that. When you talk America, just about everybody in the world that's not from North America or the United States thinks American means from the United States. A person from Brazil doesn't say I'm American when they go to Europe or to Russia or to Africa. They say they're Brazilian. That gets me off. I go off on a tangent here on a side note. But this is something you're going to be hearing because it's a movement to legitimize people who are coming to the United States illegally, to give them equal status to the people who were born in the United States. We have the governments of the Central and South American countries encouraging their people to migrate to the United States illegally because they don't want to deal with their poor. They don't have the means to deal with their poor. So let's let the United States deal with it. Deal with their problem. So I have one solution. And Mr. Trump, I wish you would listen. I wish you would hear me on this one, because this is a bigger threat than any of the countries in the Middle East. And that is people coming from Central and South America into this country illegally. You know it, Mr. President. Many people know it. But the deal is that if we don't start talking tough with Mexico, like we would talk tough to North Korea, like we would talk tough to Iran, and tell them we're going to bomb them into submission if they don't get this thing under control. See, if it continues, you're going to have people like me advocating. If we have to deal with Mexico's problems, if we have to deal with South American problems and Central American problems, then we might as well own that land. And I'm not for war. But if they're not going to control their problem and they're forcing it on the United States, then I see no other option than sending our troops deep into Mexico, 50, 60 miles, if not all the way through it, just to stop the flow of people coming into this country. Because they're shoving off these people they don't want onto us. These people are taking their kids through horrors, tremendous dangers just to get here. And if we're talking human rights issues, then as a human rights issue, we need to go into Mexico and straighten that place out if they don't do it themselves. That might get rid of some of the drug cartels anyways, and that might get rid of that gang, or at least put a nice damper on that gang coming into the U.S. called MS-13. We may have to do that. It's not a pretty solution. It's not a pretty picture. But if we're going to be forced into caring for their problems, their poor people, because they're shuffling, they're encouraging, they're shuffling, they're throwing them up this way because they don't want to deal with their poor problem, then they're going to force the United States into doing something very drastic. So my advice to Mr. Trump is to start talking really tough to the Mexican president and to Mexico and warning them if they don't get a handle on this thing, we're going to do it. We're not going to keep accepting their refugees because they are sending them up here because they don't want to deal with it. If we're going to be forced into dealing with it, then the best option is to head into Mexico with our military and deal with it down in Mexico, not here in the United States. I'm not advocating for invading Mexico. I am saying it's going to be inevitable if we do not get a handle on this crisis and force Mexico and the rest of the Central and South American countries to get their crap together. Because it is not the United States' responsibility to take care of their poor people. We have our own poor people that we can't help because we're too busy helping the people who are coming here illegally, who aren't our own, and who are suffering because their own countries are too damn corrupt and suck. And if we're going to clean up countries in the Middle East, and if we're going to engage with countries in Asia, then it's time we look Mexico in the face and we tell them, get your crap together and lock down the border on your side. Otherwise, we're coming in and we're going to clean it up for you. And guess what? You're not going to be in charge anymore. That's just me, though, folks. I'm not saying that's what I want. I'm saying that's going to be the only way to clean this up if we don't start talking seriously tough with Mexico. Because this is their problem. This is not the United States' problem. They're putting their problem on us. And you know what? I'm sick of neighbors dropping their problems on their neighbors, not thinking of the other country, not being responsible enough to keep their problems on their own side of the fence. Boy, I might get some hate mail over this. But again, I'm not saying I want to go to war. I do not want to go to war with Mexico. They are leaving us not much of a choice because they are not doing a service to their people. They're not being a good neighbor. They are encouraging their people to jump the fence and hang around in our yard. Take from our people, take from the mouths of our people, take from our pocketbooks, and if we don't do it, they claim human rights issues. They claim that we're the bad guy when they are the ones that are shuffling their problems out of there. They're the ones who can't deal with their own problems. They're the ones who are so corrupt and so inept that doing the right thing is impossible. Smoke them if you got them.
Because the John Lebang Show will be right back
after this. That's guaranteed. Yes. Pane in the Glass, commercial and residential window cleaning for a beautiful sparkling shine that's crystal clear. Call Pane in the Glass Window Cleaning. You can find them on Facebook at Pane in the Glass. Quality One Painting For interior and exterior painting needs, call Tom at Quality One, 313-982-2986. Tom will give you free estimates, senior discounts, and I can tell you from meeting the gentleman, he's one of the nicest guys on the face of the planet. So for a quality paint job with a professional attitude, call Tom at Quality One Painting. That's 313-982-2986. 313-982-2986. Quality One Painting.
You're listening to The John Lebang Show.
Join the radio revolution right here.
It's better than some good Thai stick, man.
Yes, I would like some too.
Leroy, is the geek back? I don't think so, Uncle Shady. Well, I hope he gets back soon. I'm out of beer. We're out of a lot of things, Uncle Shady.
I know, Leroy. I know. What are you doing over there?
Oh, I'm just checking my messages, Uncle Shady.
Are you on that dating site again?
Yeah, Uncle Shady.
Leroy, I told you to get off that site. Ain't no woman on there worth talking to.
Well, I'm talking to a couple of them, Uncle Shady.
Yeah? Then why haven't you been on a date yet?
I don't know, Uncle Shady. One of them said we could go out.
When did she say that?
About a week ago, Uncle Shady.
So when you going out, Leroy?
I don't know, Uncle Shady. She won't reply to me, Uncle Shady.
Well, what kind of messages have you been sending?
Well, I've been asking her about doing some things, but she hasn't replied to me yet, Uncle Shady.
How many times have you asked her to do things, Leroy?
It's 3 times now, Uncle Shady.
And has she ignored you every time?
That's right, Uncle Shady.
Now, does she ignore you when you talk about her?
No, Uncle Shady. If I ask her how she's doing, she'll tell me how she's doing.
Well, that means one thing then, Leroy. She's got someone better to hang out with than you.
Then why did she say she'd go out with me, Uncle Shady?
She's just keeping you in the circle, Leroy. In case she doesn't have something to do one night, she'll call you up so you spend money on her. Now, what about the other girls you're talking to?
Well, this one here, Uncle Shady, she seems to really like me, Uncle Shady.
Well, why haven't you gone out on a date with her?
Well, she's married, Uncle Shady.
So she's just keeping you as a backup, too. See, she's just like the other girl. You just don't know it.
I don't understand, Uncle Shady.
You're just the backup, Leroy. You're there when they're either bored, lonely, or feel like doing something different than they normally do. Otherwise, Leroy, you're not important.
I don't understand, Uncle Shady.
Listen here, Leroy. If women ain't giving you attention, you're not important. If they're married, you're only important when their husband isn't around. It's normal behavior these days. You're in that friends with benefits zone, and normally the benefits you won't get. And when you do get it, it's only because she has time to fit you in.
Uncle Shady, I don't get any of that.
That's because you're not important, Leroy. Listen to what I'm saying. If the woman ain't chasing after you and making you the number one priority above all else and finds a way to make it happen, she doesn't want you, Leroy. She only wants you around when she got the time to be around you.
But the one says she really likes me, Uncle Shady.
Yeah? How often do you see her?
Well...
Yeah, when she can sneak around all the other people. If she's only sneaking around to meet with you, Leroy, you're not number one. You're probably more like number 2.
Well, how do I find a good woman, Uncle Shady?
These days, it's a crapshoot, Leroy. I don't know if there are good women anymore.
What am I going to do, Uncle Shady?
Well, you can get yourself a blow-up doll or a sex robot.
But they're not real women, Uncle Shady.
Yeah, well, that might be a bonus, Leroy, because that means you don't have to hear their complaining either.
All right, I'm back.
All right, where's my beer, geek?
Oh, I forgot it.
What do you mean you forgot it?
It just slipped my mind.
You must have been thinking about women.
No, I was thinking about the lottery ticket.
I'll get the phone. MW. Oh, it's Maria. Hello, Maria.
Oh, you knew it was me?
Well, that's what caller ID is for. Didn't you know that? What are you calling for now?
Oh, I'm calling for a favor.
I know you're calling for a favor. That's the only time you ever call. So what the hell do you want?
Well, I can't get anybody else to do this for me. So I was wondering if you could help me out.
Help you out with what?
I'm having so much trouble with everything. I was wondering if you could help me.
Let me make this clear to you. I'm not interested. Why don't you call one of those men you go out with and have them do it?
Well, none of them were able to help.
They're finally getting smart. How about this for a novel idea? Why don't you find one man, keep him, make him happy, and then maybe you'll have someone to do stuff for you when you need it done.
But I don't want one man.
And that's why you don't have anyone to help you. With that being said, I got one more thing for you. Goodbye.
Who was that, Uncle Shady?
Oh, one of those kind of women I was warning you about, Leroy.
What she want?
The kind of woman that only wants you around when they need something. Now, since there's no more beer here, and the geek forgot to buy some, I'm heading out. So hold my calls until I return. Bye.
You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
It's what's cool on radio.
Well, apparently teachers have had enough. Since March, schools in West Virginia, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Arizona, Colorado, and North Carolina have either been shut down or turned into sites of resistance because teachers are unhappy. They're unhappy because they have poor pay, they have increased health care costs, and diminished pension plans. That's the same problem as the rest of the country. Yet Harvard and their Harvard Business Review think teachers are being treated unfairly. Not the rest of us, but teachers. And in Kansas, teachers are threatening to strike because their legislature continues to fund schools at a level that the state Supreme Court has deemed unconstitutional. Supreme Courts, whether it be in the state or the federal Supreme Court, are a little bit out of hand lately. And I'll admit, I don't know the Constitution of Kansas. A level of funding, the amount of funding that goes towards public education shouldn't really be a constitutional issue. That should be a legislative issue. The legislature of a state determines how much money they want to put towards their public schooling. That depends on how many taxes they get. That depends on how many students they have. Yet the teachers, who Harvard is saying, we don't treat like professionals anymore, as if anybody is treated like a professional anymore. Harvard's lamenting that these teachers are being treated unfairly, and the teachers are complaining that they're not being taken care of. The teachers, and the students don't get enough funding. It perplexes me because I sit here as a person who watches what is going on and comments about it. It perplexes me that teachers stay in the public education system and they're accredited, right? These teachers are they not licensed to be teachers? Don't they have degrees to be teachers? If that's so, why don't they just become freelance teachers, start their own classes, charge per student, no federal funding, no state funding, directly charge per student, pick the age group they want to deal with, and teach them in all the facets of the suggested curriculum. They can decide the size of their class, what students they take. This way the teachers don't have to have troublemakers because they're part of some system that has to take them. If they want more money, become independent. Don't think because you're a government employee that you should get paid more when you're probably paid better than a lot of us. Sure, you're not paid the rates of the millionaires and the billionaires and the CEOs and the presidents of organizations and companies. Sure, you're not paid that much. Not many of us are. But when we hear about teachers who are unhappy with their working conditions, unhappy with their pay rate, unhappy with their pension plans, and insurance has skyrocketed since Obamacare. I say, welcome to the class, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, you're feeling the pinch that the rest of us feel. And because you're a union worker, you think you deserve more for what you do. And when we have such low scores in math and reading comparatively to other countries and how much we already pay per student, which is the very tip top per student in the world we pay in, but we get results in the 30 range, in the 20 range. So I say, you don't deserve a pay raise. If I don't deserve a pay raise, if somebody else who works at their job and is suffering through the same conditions that you are suffering, increased health costs, not enough pay, start your own education business. Become a freelancer. Do it that way. Then you can control the rate of pay that you make. You can control the size of your class. You can control the students that you get. Oh, is that bad? Is that bad that we should be able to determine who we work with when it's our business? When it's our own business, I mean, that's one thing the Supreme Court, I guess, did properly. You can claim religious freedom for not making a cake. Why can't I claim personal freedom for not having to deal with certain people? We pick and choose our friends, don't we? Shouldn't we be able to pick who we do business with, who we allow to educate, who we mentor? I mean, that's a novel idea, I suppose. Being able to make a choice on who we deal with on a daily basis. Oh, that's discrimination. People discriminate between the foods they eat on a daily basis, who's their friends. The only thing you can't really discriminate that we're forced into dealing with on a personal level is the family members we have. But you can discriminate on if you interact with those people. But the teachers are unhappy all over the place. Doesn't matter, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Chicago, Seattle, they're all underpaid. The police are underpaid. The firemen are underpaid. The guy working at the paint shop is underpaid. How about instead of asking for more financial help towards health care, asking for more money put into pension plans, instead of doing all that, why don't we just reduce taxes so we can keep more of the money we make? Why, if you are unhappy as a teacher, don't you freelance? Try something new. This is a new business opportunity that I'm handing out to all the teachers out there who are unhappy, and they're good teachers, the good teachers. You go out there and you start a freelancing education school. Maybe you freelance for homeschooling. You go around and you teach a kid for a few hours, then you go to another place and teach another kid for a few hours. Hey, you won't be there when there's another mass shooting because you'll be freelancing, so you'll be safe that way. And if you get to pick and choose the students you work with, and the parents pay you directly for educating their kid, I'm willing to bet that the education scores will go up for a lot of people. And the ones that can't keep up are the ones that never can keep up. All people may be created equally. All that means is we're born naked and we start off the same way. From there on out, it changes. And equality changes with that. Mentalities, behavior, parenting. We can't help it that there's really crappy parents out there that develop really crappy kids. I don't even know how to solve that problem. You can't talk them into not making children, not having offspring. You can't do that. You can't force them into not having offspring. But I think it's a novel idea. It's a new step. We've got to be creative in this modern world. Go out if you're unhappy as a teacher working in the public school system. Go out and freelance yourself. If you're a good teacher, people will not only hire you to educate their kids, you'll make great money doing it. Far more than working for a government agency. You'll be able to make enough money to create a nest egg that no pension could ever duplicate. That's just my thoughts. What are your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen? Are teachers underpaid? Probably. Is health insurance skyrocketing because of Obamacare? Damn right it is. Are pension plans diminishing and going away? Damn right they are. What should you do about it? Well, from the humble John Lebang, you should freelance. Start your own education company. Isn't that what a college is these days? They're not an institution. They're a freaking company. That's why they charge so much, these bloated rates, to educate your children. And then we'll get the politicians. This has got to fit in with this. Get the politicians to stop taking our tax money and putting it into a public education system that fails on a daily basis. The cost per child to educate them is one of the highest on the planet. Yet, here in the United States, our English, our math skills, our science skills are lacking in every category. So we're not getting the return for what we're putting into the education system. So for the teachers to want more money, have better insurance, better pension plans, which nobody's got pension plans, or hardly anybody does these days. Again, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. Maybe some teachers do. Maybe some educators do. And that's why I'm giving them the idea of becoming freelance educators. Promote homeschooling and say you'll come and homeschool the kid for the parent. For a fee, of course. For a fee, of course. And see if you don't get better pay, better work environment, better long-term financial care, and you'll be able to buy the best health insurance if you do it right, if you're a good educator. Now, if you're one of the scumbags like we have down here in my town, who strike for any reason, who walk out on the kids because it's more important to protest than to educate the kids, then you're not going to make that kind of money. And that's why you're like these people here who are protesting how much they make, how bad insurance has become, and how bad the pension plans are these days. So with that being said, folks, we've got to get on out of here. That's right, another 60 minutes down the drain. Thank you for listening. Thank you to all of our affiliate stations carrying The John Lebang Show. Please go to our website. That's www.jlebang.com. And until the vibrations of my vocal cords reach your ears again, and for some of you, that's in the next hour. This is John Lebang, signing off for now from the Banger Studios.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Tune in again next week. Same time, same space, same station.
Resistance is futile.